Praise the Lord. Thank you for this opportunity to take this commentary of Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10 basically talks about how Jesus Christ chose his disciples and how he communicated with them about things that they would need. He gave them instructions about things that they would need, what to do, what to avoid. And this reflects on the nature of God. His willingness to guide us in life, His willingness to direct us as believers, to lead us. We're not just saved and left alone to navigate it by ourselves, to navigate life by ourselves, but we have the Spirit of God in us. From verses 1 to 3, we can see Jesus called his 12 disciples, and he basically told them about the authority, the power that they have already, to perform miracles. The naming of these apostles, of these disciples, illustrates the personal and choosing nature of their call. Here we can see that whenever we're given a role or responsibility, all the tools we need, all the authority we need to carry it out effectively has been bestowed upon us by God. From verses 4 to 6, we can see that Jesus told his disciples to focus on the Israelites rather than the Gentiles or the Samaritans initially. I was saying that God doesn't care about everyone. God does. But here, they were made to prioritize the lost sheep of the house of Israel first. And what we need to learn here as Christians, as believers, is the importance of prioritizing and focusing our efforts. This teaches us to concentrate our resources and energy where they would be most effective before we now expand our focus. From verses 7 to 9, the disciples were instructed to proclaim the nearness of the kingdom of heaven and to perform the act of healing freely. They were told to trust God and not, seek material things and not seek to be paid. This means that whenever God has sent us on a mission, we have to do it with generosity and simplicity, relying on the support God has given, rather than seeking material gains. In our personal walk with God, in our work as believers, we are to focus on the major task at hand and trust that God has provided all that we will ever need. Verses 10 to 12, Jesus told his disciples to stay with welcoming hosts and extend peace to them. If peace is not received, they should move on. Basically means they shouldn't fight with anybody. They shouldn't try to argue anything. They should invest their time and efforts in places where there's genuine support and they are being received. Should not fight with anyone, should not argue with anyone. For us to gracefully withdraw our efforts if the efforts are not appreciated. Verses 13 to 15, he talks about handling rejection. He told the disciples, he told them to symbolically shake off the dust from their feet if rejected. Basically means they should move on from unwelcoming places. They should handle the rejection with dignity and not dwell on it. Rather focus on other areas. So in life generally, there are people that would accept us, there are people that would welcome us. And there are people that will reject us, there are places that will reject us as believers. We are not to argue with anybody. We are to just, with dignity, just leave. We shouldn't allow these rejections affect our motivation to continue doing the work of God. Verses 16 to 18, Jesus warned the disciples of the challenges and the hostilities that they will face, advising them to be wise but yet innocent. This teaches that facing difficulties with both wisdom and integrity would help us navigate challenging situations while we remain true to our values. In everyday life, we are told to prepare for challenges with a clear approach that can even help us to turn obstacles into opportunities. From verses 19 to 23, Jesus assures the disciples that each time they will be given the right words they need. Whenever they encounter difficulty, they will be given. This also shows that God has made a provision for us. He is God. He knows the beginning from the end. He knows the end from the beginning. All that we would ever need, even at difficult times and during trials, God has provided already. God would put the right words in our mouth. From verses 24 to 28, Jesus told the disciples to expect the same treatment that he received. Jesus was rejected, he was persecuted, he was gossiped about. This is preparing disciples that these same things would also happen to us. It encourages us to prioritize our spiritual and moral commitments above the fear of physical or social consequences. It's a call for us to be bold in our convictions and to trust that the ultimate truth will prevail. From verses 29 to 31, Jesus assures the disciples of God's intimate care and attention to even the smallest details of life. If God values the sparrows, then he values us even more. We are made to trust in God's care. And then from verse 32 down to 37, Jesus acknowledges that his message would cause division, even in families. We're meant to prioritize God above all other relationships, prioritize him above all other things. And from 38 to 42, we're encouraged to take hardship for the sake of God.